Hello and welcome to the Freedym Show. My name is Ryan Lee, the founder of Freedym.com, the #1 resource for heart-centered lifestyle entrepreneurs. And right now you're listening to the world-famous Freedym Show. This is the daily show featuring 10 minutes of the best fluff-free advice, giving you the tools to create a lifestyle business, because it's not just about the money, it's about the freedom. And I just set up a brand new 100% free online networking community. Just head on over to freedym.com/breakfast. That's freedym.com/breakfast. And speaking of shows and speaking of podcasting, we got a goodie today. We've got my man Vernon Foster, the founder of PodParrot.com.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, look at that! PodParrot.com. He's a podcasting consultant and an expert. He helps businesses and entrepreneurs create podcasts and grow their market, grow their tribe, and sell more stuff. Vernon, you're already excited. You're already jumping in before I finish your intro. I love it. You ready to rock?
Always ready, baby.
Now, I know for a fact that you've taught people how to create and launch their podcast within just a couple of hours and actually book their first 3 guests. Take us through these steps.
Well, it's a 4-step process, Ryan. And first off, thank you for having me on the show. And we'll just hop right into it, man. So, you know, the reason why I did this is because people like to make excuses about why they can't start a podcast. They're talking about, got to have this mic or this website, RSS feed, album art. And with all the steps that I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need any of that. So let's hop into it. The first step that you're going to do is you're going to research, some people in iTunes new and noteworthy to reach out to them, to have them as your first interviews on your show.
Now, were you talking about the actual owners of the show, or are you talking about guests on the show?
This is guests that will be on your show, but these are podcasters, right?
Okay, so let's play for a sec. Let's say I want to do a fitness podcast, all right?
Correct.
I want to teach people how to get more fit and lose weight. I'm going to new and noteworthy in the fitness category. If a guy just launched a podcast called, Six-Pack Body Rock Show.
6-Pack in 6 weeks, the Body Rock Show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to contact that person as a potential guest.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
So you're going to add them to a little spreadsheet. You're going to set that aside, and you're going to do that. While you're at it, just grab about 10 to 15 people and throw them in a spreadsheet that fit that same criteria.
And Google Spreadsheet works well, and it's free.
That's right, baby. The next thing you're going to want to do is head over to a Schedule Once. You can also do this with Calendly, which is a free app, and Acuity also has a free version. And you're going to basically create an intake form where you can collect their name, their email, their Skype ID, and their Twitter and Instagram handle. If you're going to be doing any promotion, you're definitely going to want to have that stuff as well. I know you use Calendly, right?
Yeah, I love it. I started off with the free version, which lets you basically book one type of time slot, and then I went up to the paid, and now I do all of my coaching, all of my interviews, basically everything I do is through Calendly. And what's cool about it, and even with Schedule Once, is that it completely eliminates all of these hours my virtual assistants would spend going back and forth with the hours, to me, that was the biggest challenge whenever booking any type of interviews, was the back and forth. So this completely eliminates that.
Right, you're making it easier for people to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. You just say, hey, here are the open times, pick which one works for you.
So that's step 2. Moving on to step 3, you're going to want to have a template. So if you do an interview show where you have canned questions that you kind of go through your guests and you ask them the same thing, you can put this in a Google Doc and go ahead and shoot this over to them so they're more comfortable with the format and the feel of your show. Now, if you're not doing something like that and you're doing something that's more of kind of a free flow, more of a conversational flow, you won't need that. But it's good because it gives you an outline for your guest and they feel more confident when they're reaching out to you, or when you're reaching out to them. Sorry.
So what would that have? Like, what were some things that you'd want to include in there?
Right. So if I have a canned interview show and I'm asking people the same questions, it's, maybe a lot of people have a rapid fire round where they ask, 5 questions like, hey, what's your top tool that you're using right now? If there's the one thing that you could take away about, how to run your business, what will that be? Mm-hmm. What books are you reading right now, that are helping you grow your company or your business? So those are things that you could put in there. If you're going to ask the same questions, you might as well have them in a Google Doc, and then you can refer back to them while you're doing the interview, right? You just have it there. You don't have to, keep repeating the same thing every time.
Got it.
And then the last thing you're going to want to do is do some cold emailing. Now, a lot of people get scared with this, but the reason why I told you to go into New and Noteworthy and I didn't tell you to go reach out to people like Ryan Lee.
Come on, you got to go 10 layers to get to me.
He's got a fortress, man. So the reason why I told you to reach out to these people is because they're just getting started. They're ecstatic to promote their show, right? They're ecstatic to get the word out there. And the likelihood that they're going to say yes without asking you any other questions, if you do this correctly, is very high. So you're going to reach out to these people by either going through iTunes and clicking on their album art, going back to those links that we grabbed earlier and put in a spreadsheet. And once you click on their album art in the left-hand column, there's a little tab that says website. If you click on that, it'll take you to the website, and then you can, basically cold pitch them through their contact form, or, sometimes on the about page, it'll have their email address, or something like that. You basically want to get that information, and then you start shooting off those cold emails. One tip here that I love, Ryan, is the headline. One of the best things that you can do to get people to say yes is, especially for podcasters, is leave them an iTunes review. So one of my favorite headlines is "Get my iTunes review?" ? Who's not going to open that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or love the show.
Love the show. Love the new show that you just put on 2 minutes ago. It's so new. I can't even hear it yet, but I'm loving it.
Right. So this is a strategy that I used, and in 4.5 hours, that same day by 8 p.m. I had 3 booked, guests for my show, and I didn't have an RSS feed. I didn't have, any of that stuff. I didn't have a website. I had a mic because I had done previous podcasts before, but I put the rest, all that nonsense about, hey, I got to have the right equipment, or hey, I got to have this or that.
Right. I need cover art. How big does it have to be? What's the specs? What do you think of this cover art? Should I use a blue background, a back? And then all of a sudden they're like, well, I need a new professional headshot, and I got to go get a photographer. And should I have my shirt off, my shirt on? Should I have one eye closed? Should I wear an eye patch? Like, it just goes on and on and on, and they keep making excuses to take action. When what this does, what I love about this, Vernon, is it just kind of validates your idea, as you said.
Right, it's idea validation. I think it also gives people the confidence, right? Like if you do this in a day and you get 3 book guests, you're on this high horse and you're like, all right, I'm ready. I can do this podcast thing versus spending 7 weeks on your album art.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and you just. I will tell you, I remember one of my first membership sites back in 2002. I was interviewing personal trainers. This was before podcasts came out. This is 13, 14 years ago. And I remember emailing a guy in the fitness industry who was really big, and he replied and said, I'd be happy to be interviewed. And I was like literally jumping up in the air, like so excited. That feeling of someone booking it is a really great feeling, saying, oh my God, my show, it now starts to become a reality.
Right, you get that momentum that you need to just keep moving forward.
Yeah, everything's about momentum. All right, we got another minute and a half. Let's do, while we got you on, the pod parrot man, the
Birdman.
The Birdman, woo! Is that like, I don't know if you follow wrestler, Coco Beware? I don't know, old school. All right, anyway, I'll give you some quick questions here. Give me one tactic to grow your podcast.
One tactic to grow your podcast, it's going to take a lot of work, and a lot of people aren't doing it, but this is something I picked up from my man Nick Loper over at the Side Hustle Show. He creates lead magnets for each individual episode, and he puts a lead box in there in the blog post. He has like a 300-word blog post, and he says, hey, if you want to get more information, if you want to get the actual report, the guide for this episode, click here, lead box pops up, and they put in their email. He was able to grow his email list by additional 13,000.
Wow. Yeah, that is definitely, I'm thinking if you have a daily show, that's going to be a little tough, but, why not? It can be done. Give me one final word of advice for anyone looking to podcast, to grow their audience, to monetize, to do it right. Give me the final word of advice from Vernon Foster.
The final word of advice is just to get started. I mean, don't get so hung up on the equipment and who's going to be your hosting or any of that stuff. Just take one small step. Do one thing today to move you into the right direction.
One small step for podcast, one giant leap. Look at
one giant leap for podcast mankind.
Yes, there we go. If you enjoyed this with Vernon, make sure to check out his site, Parrot, PARROT.com. This is Ryan Lee signing off. Remember, we have that brand new free community at freedom.com/breakfast. And have no fear, my friend, my fellow freedom fighter. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm here 7 days a week. Vernon with the podcast. Do we ever stop?
We never stop, baby.
We never ever stop. Oh, yeah. Don't make me start rapping now. This is Ryan Lee signing off. See you tomorrow. Take care, and bye-bye.